Hello, my name is Nolan, and I am pursuing a political science degree at the University of North Georgia.
Nolan, why did you choose to pursue a political science degree?
I chose a political science degree here because when I first started as a freshman, my first semester, I took an American government class, and that really opened my eyes to politics in general and how the American system works. And I got really interested just in politics and how everything is really interconnected and just how much there actually is. It's so much deeper than what you see from a broad spectrum. So the American class opened my eyes up to also wanting to learn how other countries work and how the American system has its advantages and its flaws, which will help me in my future as just being a more informed citizen of how everybody works together.
Okay. How does this degree impact you as a cadet right now?
As a cadet right now, it helps me learn because as cadets, where I was working as a team in units to accomplish one similar goal, and a lot of times people have different ways of how they want to get to that goal, being different plans or just any way to get there. But at the end of the day, if you have that same goal, you need to be able to work with everybody to get to that goal. Whereas countries and individual states are doing the same thing, where a lot of times they'll have that same end goal, but different countries will have totally different ways to get there. So you have to blend together to find that best way to get there. Or you may have different end goals, but you each want to accomplish one thing. So you have to learn how to kind of come together and shift a little bit and give a little bit of what they want and you get a little bit of what you want. So basically how to blend together, which is what we work as cadets a lot too.
Okay. And then, so you talked about a little bit about how this degree is impacting, kind of your now as a cadet. What about like your future goals? Or do you plan to continue to stay with the military? And what part of it, what are you going to be pursuing?
My future goals in the military, I plan to commission as an officer upon graduation from UNG. So in the military, I'll be working a lot with other countries and different people with different opinions. So it's important to understand that while they may have different opinions, we need to accomplish what we need to accomplish in the end. And especially working with other countries because, as I mentioned before, not everyone is the same as the United States. And it's still important that we work with those countries and learn how they interact, how their governments work, what their political system is, because if you don't understand how they work, you might go in there, what worked with country A might not work with country B. So you basically have to know if I'm going to do the same thing with one country as another, that you might get a different result just because of the way their people are and the way their government works.
Okay. And then, Nolan, can you tell us a little bit about some of the upper level classes you've taken so far?
Some of the upper level classes I've taken in political science, they've really sparked my interest, and it's a lot of critical thinking, which makes you see a lot more. One class I'm taking this semester is my Introduction to Constitutional Law, and that really opens my eyes to the Constitution, how it was written almost 300 years ago in the United States, yet different people still have different ways to interpret it, which really shows you that in political science, everything is ever changing. While the Constitution, the words aren't actually changing, it's still different people interpret it different ways. Some people see it as what it originally meant. Some people might see it as what they intended it to mean. And some people might take it as something completely different. So even with one document that hasn't changed, there's so many different ways to look at it, which really opens your mind up to different ways. Another class I took was the legislative process, which talked about how a bill becomes a law. And that also showed me that it's not just going up through Congress, being signed, and the next day it's a law. There's so many committees that it goes through, so much work put into the bill that it's a long process. And that's why a lot of people say Congress doesn't get much done, but it's honestly because it's so much work and a lot of people have to agree on something to get it done. So it just opens your mind up to not everything's as simple and broad as it may seem from the outside. There's a lot of inner working that goes into it, and that'll be the same with really anything you're doing. It's not as simple as it may seem from the outside. Once you actually are doing something, there's a lot more that goes into it.
Okay. Would you say, like, you talk about learning about the knowledge and the steps to all these things that are just, very important in our government. Would you say it made you more patient?
I would say yes. It makes you more patient. It makes you understand more that not everything is as simple as it goes. It makes you more of like an informed citizen because you understand more so of, hey, I want this to be done now, but it's not going to be done now because it has to go through so many more steps before it can just become a law. So I would say it makes you more informed about what's going on in your government, which is very important. So when you go to the ballot box, you're not just voting because you like someone's name. You're actually voting because of what they can do for you, your community, and ultimately your country.
Okay. And then Nolan, have there been any other opportunities in your political science degree you've gotten to benefit from?
I really like the crossfire debates that we do on Wednesday afternoons at this campus. Basically, they are debates where they'll bring a topic up, and it's just probably about 20 or 30 other students, a lot of people with different opinions, and you'll debate for a little while, which really opens your mind up to other people's opinions and other people who may have the same opinions as you, but kind of different reasons why. So it makes you, again, you're more informed on how other people may think, which may change your mind, or it may reinforce your views even stronger. But it's just good to have that other perspective, because if you're trying to, like I said, if you're trying to accomplish a task, if you know how the other people are thinking, you can better try to get them better on your side, because you're going to give them a little bit of what they want while ultimately still getting what you want. And that also just helps your speaking skills in general, because you're talking in front of a group of people, which is probably what you're going to be doing after college, in college, with your job. So helps your debate skills and helps you overcome, maybe if you're a little shy, you can talk in front of people. And usually I don't want to say they get pretty heated, but usually people's opinions are pretty strong. So usually you have no problem saying what you think and talking out there. So that's been something I really enjoy here at campus, is getting involved in those crossfire debates.
Okay. And then Nolan, you talked a little bit about your upper level classes. Has there been a particular research interest that you've got to work on as a political science major?
Well, last semester I really enjoyed my European Union class, and the European Union is essentially a union of about 30 countries in Europe, where they all fall under the same type of government, not the same type of government, I guess, but more so the same standards, so they all can work together. Kind of similar to what the United States is, we're all one country, but we have our individual states who vary a little bit. That's essentially what the European Union is. So I had to write a research paper I did it on the transportation policy, which showed me that even though countries are different, they all have to have the same type of stuff in the end to make the seamless transition. One example was railroad tracks. If in one country they were, say, 7 inches wide, in another country they were 5, you wouldn't be able to run a train from the one country to the next. So while different countries have different ways to do things, you still need to be similar in a way to accomplish goals. And that's how that can also go to a broader scheme of where the European Union needs to work with the United States, as in trading, so you can trade together, which profits both nations or both groups. So essentially, the European Union was something that really interested me, and just how big it is and how interconnected everybody is and how on the same page it must be to make everything work.
Okay. And then can you tell us about just something you found surprising about your political science degree?
I think something I found surprising is how one little thing in one country can affect someone else around the other half of the globe. Because if country A trades with country B with C, so on and so forth, eventually it works its way all the way down to Z, and that country may have nothing to do with the first country. But because that first country made a change, it can affect that next country just because it goes all the way down. At the end of the day, most of the countries in the world rely on each other. There's really no independent country. So just how much actually one little decision can go into play to people who honestly have no idea it might even be happening. So I think just how interconnected the world actually is and how small things actually have big changes.
Okay. And then Nolan, can you tell us what is something advice you would give freshmen or prospective students pursuing or thinking about pursuing a political science degree here at UNG?
I would say my best piece of advice would just be, if you know your topic, you can make an argument for it. It's not so much cut and dry, whereas like a math class where 2 + 2 is 4. It's more so, as I said, different opinions. If you have facts to back them up, you can make your argument. So I guess some advice would be just stay motivated to do it and stay in it, because it's a great degree to pursue. Because as I'm saying, if you like to work with international affairs and maybe the political science and politics, you'll learn a lot here of how to do it and a lot more people skills, because you'll be talking with people and debating as opposed to just doing your individual math. But I would say just advice is just stick with it if you want to do it, and just know you'll be doing You'll be doing some papers, but as I'm saying, you get to do them what you want to do, and if you can make an argument for what you believe is true, then if you have facts to support it, then you're good to go.
All right. Thanks so much, Nolan.
Thank you.